Hey y'all, welcome back. This is Michelle from Michelle's Empty Nest, and today we are going to work in my 2021 December daily album again, and we're going to do the next two stories. So for today I have, let's see, O and P are the two stories we're telling today, and that is for ornaments and playlist. So I'm going to go ahead and get you put on fast forward, and we'll get these put together. So let's do it. Okay, friends, it is raining cats and dogs outside and storming, and my little Yorkie is huddled up under my chin as I speak, so you may hear her bell, but hopefully you won't hear any of that on this voiceover. So I showed you there that I'm using a 1.75-inch circle punch, and so I'm trimming down my little strips here, and I just sized all of these photos into a 1.75-inch square in Photoshop so that I could easily punch them and, have as much of the photo show as possible. So I knew this wreath paper was going to be perfect as soon as I saw it, because we buy several Hallmark ornaments every year, little series that we've been doing for a long time, as well as pick up ornaments when we travel or that mean something special other than Hallmark ornaments as well. So there was actually about 15, and I chose these 12, and a couple of them were gifts as well, but I do a lot of decorating, so that was just a little tangent there. So I was going to just adhere down with my rolling adhesive straight to the paper, and I decided, like in the last video with those circular photos, that I really wanted to pop them up on phone tape. So I'm going to take the time to pop all 12 of these up. The only difference is these photos are a 1/4 of an inch smaller than the last video, and so I'm having to really trim down my little side pieces, so it took a little extra time to do that, but I think in the end it was very worth it. So now I'm going to peel off all the backing paper, save you some time, and voila, there we go. I'm almost done, and then I'm going to have all of these in place. I'm not going to add any embellishments. I don't think it needs any journaling. The photos speak for themselves. And so, it's just the ornaments for this year. So I'm leaving it at that. I was trying to show you the dimension, but it really didn't show up on camera there. But it is fun to, just kind of run your hand across it and feel the lump and bump. So now I'm moving on to story P, which is playlist. And I'm going to adhere these two papers back to back to go ahead and get started. And I decided I would do a little trick I see a lot of people do, where I don't take all the release paper off and kind of just get the little first part of it going, and then I think it's a little easier to get part of the paper lined up, and then you don't have to worry so much about sticking it down crooked. Then I'm going to work with this cut file, which I cut back in November and had kind of forgotten what all was in there. That one red piece up there, that little rectangular piece, I don't know what it's supposed to do. I mean, I know where it looks like it fits. I don't know why I saved it. If it was supposed to be used, I have no idea. I was a little bit flabbergasted there, but I started putting things together, and then it was kind of making sense. And that's the little antenna. So I'm going to work with where I think it might go. I end up changing it, but then there's these little pieces that are supposed to fit inside where the cutout is on that red piece. But for what I sized my photo and my little title piece there, they don't work in that place. So I'm going to have to work around that here in just a minute. And I'm just going to put it right on top of that Christmas tree paper. So I'm going to use my Bearly Arts precision glue and get these black, what's supposed to be like the knobs and the dials and the punch buttons and all of those things from like a vintage radio. So I'm going to get those put in place. And then when I get to the front of the radio there, I decided that I wanted to actually pop the whole thing up on foam tape to give it a little dimension. I'm not sure why I keep doing dimension when I'm already in my second album, but that's just how we do it around here. So I'm going to take a good bit of time actually to put foam squares. I decided just to use squares because I had such small spaces, and I kept going through trying to find the exact ones that I wanted. And that still wasn't them, so there they are. So I'm going to use a lot of these. I'm going to cut a lot of them in half, some of them maybe even into fourths when I get to the knob on the front. I do have to kind of poke a few in a little bit at the end because they still almost show through a little bit. So I'm going to cut in half where the speaker holes are, so that I can still have that popped up. I don't like to have a cut file that just kind of has like dips and valleys in it. I like to try to keep it as even as I can. So I saved you a lot of time watching me pull off all those little backing pieces as well. Those things are like my nemesis. And then I'm putting some liquid glue on there to give me just a little bit of wiggle room when I put this down. In case I'm not completely satisfied with where it's at, I can move it just a little bit. So that's just a little trick you can do if you're doing a lot of stuff or a bigger piece with foam tape on the back. So there you see me using my tweezers, kind of poking in some of the little edges that were sticking out from the foam tape. So the black piece, I just go ahead and adhere straight down, and then the knob, which I did in green to kind of tie in with those Christmas trees, I'm going to put some little pieces there so that it has some dimension as well. And then I'm going to turn my attention to the photo of the album cover. And then on the black strip that you see there, it actually has Leslie Odom Jr. and then 2020 in parentheses. And then the bottom line says the Christmas album. And I did those in Photoshop, and I tried to make it look more like a modern, like what your, sound system would look like in your car or whatever, just to have that little bit of juxtaposition from the old and the new. I like to do that a lot. So I thought I would try to make it look a little more modern, and then I used a font that I think is called Digitalism that I've used before. I used it in my 80s album a lot, so that it kind of, had that look of how things would appear if they were, on some kind of computerized, machine, a radio or whatever. So anyway, then to solve the problem with these being in the way of my photo and my little title piece, I'm actually adhering them a little bit out onto the red, so it looks a little bit different than what it was intended to. But between moving them out just a hair and popping it up on foam tape, the red piece, it allowed for the photo and the title to show through. So then I'm just fidgeting with the antenna to get it down and tilted enough not to stick up off the page. And then I'm going to, I put that down with liquid glue, and then I'm going to use my score tape again to put this in place. This is a heavy piece with all that foam tape, so I used a good bit of score tape. I don't want this to fall off at any time in the future. So once I get this in place, I'm going to get it in my album and straighten up a little bit, and that's going to do me for today. So thank you so much, and I'll be back to talk with you here in just a second. Back again. I forgot I do also add a piece of vellum in, so I did want to mention that as well. Okay, y'all, that's where I'm going to call these two done. When I did the last video, I told you I knew that I had this particular paper coming up with the wreaths on it for my ornament story. And so I thought it was just kind of a perfect tie-in there for this filler page. So these are our new ornaments for this year. We collect Hallmark ornaments. So let's see, 6 of these are Hallmark ornaments, plus I had a snowman that I did not include because we actually had more than 12 ornaments. So we've got just our year ornament that we always get. I always do the mom ornament. My husband's been collecting these cards. They either started in 90 or 91, and he has all of them. Then there's a Santa series that I collect. Last year I got Rose from the Golden Girls. This year they had Blanche. And then this is an MTV ornament that is one of those with batteries that lights up and plays some music and things like that. We picked up an ornament when we went to Biltmore, and also when we went to the Atlanta Botanical Garden when we did the, let's see, what was it called? Holiday Night Garden Lights or something like that. Anyway, a nighttime light display at the Botanical Garden in Atlanta. Then this is a little ornament that says Bethlehem on it. It came in a subscription box that I get. This is an ornament from the TSO concert. This was their 25th year anniversary of their concert and doing this Christmas tour thing. So I got that ornament. I read the Outlander series, and this year the author came out with the latest book, Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone. And so I found this ornament on Amazon that had all the stack of books, including the new one. And then I also found this little scrapbook. It's kind of like a little scrapbook made out of glass. I found that ornament on Amazon as well. So, and then we had a few more that people gave us, and just a couple more things that we had bought going different places. So I kind of had to just make a cutoff line at saying these were going to be the 12 that I documented. And I love Christmas. That's why we have so many ornaments, and I put up about 4 trees every year, so it's all good. Then we go into P, which is playlist, and I had cut this cut file out back in November when I was doing some prep work. Have no idea exactly how it was supposed to go together. These I know were supposed to be further in, what you would turn for the band. For those of you too young to know, just overlook it to get to the station that you wanted to listen to. So, but to make what I wanted to put in there fit, because when I printed these out, I measured the opening and I did not think about there being these 2 black pieces here. So I just moved them out a bit onto the red part so you could still see it. And you'll notice there's only one. When I did this, I had the intentions of creating different pull-ups to show some different albums. But even though I've listened to a lot of different things throughout the season like I always do, this is the album I kept going back to over and over and over again this year. I had never heard like the album in its entirety. I'm not really sure I had ever even heard any of the songs sung by Leslie Odom Jr., but I love him. His voice is smooth as silk, and he can sing the heck out of some Christmas songs. So it's the Christmas album from 2020 by Leslie Odom Jr. And so I ended up deciding to just put that one thing on there and kind of make it look like the dial was tuning into his station. So I like how that turned out. And then I went ahead and added this piece of vellum because when my story is on this side, and I haven't done that very much, particularly because I still end up having to put like a filler page anyway with a vellum or something, because I don't want to look at P and also see Q. So I wanted something to kind of break that up. So I did go ahead and put a piece of vellum there. So when I turn over and get ready to do my story for Q, which will be Q&A, there'll be that little bit of a barrier there between those. So that's where we will end the video for today. And I appreciate you stopping by. As I always say, it means more to me than you will ever know, my friends. And if you enjoyed the video, I would love a thumbs up down below, and please consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already and become a part of my little YouTube family. Please follow me over on Instagram as well, where I post lots of things that never make it over here to YouTube. There will be close-ups at the end here, as well as over on the post on Instagram. And until I see you in the next video, take care of yourself, do something good for yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.